you guys doing nowadays? So far, so good?
Yeah, I've had a great day.
Wait a minute, let me turn on the heater. It's too cold here.
It's too early to turn on the heater. The weather is still good.
Same here, just put on a jacket. Haven't you heard about energy problem and global warming?
Yeah, we need to think about the environment.
Have you guys ever thought about how we can generate more energy without environmental problems?
Not really, but like eco-friendly energy, like solar energy or something like that.
Yeah, but that's not efficient enough.
How about a nuclear power station? The most eco-friendly and efficient one.
Hold on. How can nuclear energy be eco-friendly?
Pardon? She doesn't even know how nuclear energy is eco-friendly.
Well, but there are also really big negative effects with nuclear energy, like radiation exposure.
Nah, bro. Radiation exposure rarely happens. Don't worry about it.
But you could die from it. How terrible.
But we can't stop nuclear power.
But I still hate it.
Okay guys, stop fighting. We're intellectuals. Let's start the debate about whether we should develop nuclear energy or not. Well, Gangan, then why do you think we should develop nuclear energy?
As I said before, nuclear power is very efficient. It works by using uranium. Using 1 kilogram of uranium can produce the same amount of energy as using 3,000 tons of coal. 2.7 kilogram, 3,000 tons.
But it still doesn't seem eco-friendly because of radioactivity.
Do you even know how nuclear power reacts?
Honestly, I don't know the details.
We should learn about nuclear fission first. It makes energy by losing mass when one atom breaks down to other atoms, which is called mass deficiency. Have you heard about E equal mc squared? As a law of conservation of energy, if one atom loses mass, it converts to greater energy.
I saw this law in my science book. Einstein came up with this formula, right?
Right, this formula is applied when mass is converted to energy. In the formula, c means the speed of light, but it's scarce so it can make a lot of energy while losing a little mass.
Nuclear power is created when there is a mass deficiency. This is what produces the energy. To explain it step by step, first, shoot the neutron to the uranium. Second, the uranium breaks down and causes mass deficiency. Then it creates energy as heat. Finally, the nuclear power plant boils the water by the heat, so it turns turbines to produce energy.
Aha! But I've never seen a single nuclear power plant in my life.
Yep, in Korea, there are 59 coal power plants but only 6 nuclear power plants. However, the difference between the two power plants is only around 10% of our country's total power production. Those plants are our core power plants. And nuclear power plants have lower carbon emissions. Furthermore, the other power plants require many spaces and are affected by the weather a lot.
It's more eco-friendly than I thought, but it creates radioactive waste. I can't accept that we should develop it. Our country has the most radioactive waste. This waste should be properly stored after use, otherwise it would cause a lot of damage to other people living near it.
There are many ways to store the radioactive waste, like to dig a deep pool and store it under the water. But it's hard to handle it because the waste is continuously generating.
But we can reprocess it as plutonium, which can become fuel, and we can reduce radioactive waste.
But that's the core technology to produce the nuclear bomb, so we can use it.
Why can't we use it? Other countries can reprocess and reuse it.
As Hanbi said, uranium reprocess technology is directly connected to creating nuclear weapon. And because our country is a truce country, reprocessing it in that way is banned.
Also, do you know how radiation exposure causes problems? If a nuclear explosion occurs, people suffer permanent damage and they could also die immediately. The Chernobyl nuclear disaster and the Fukushima nuclear disaster are good examples. Do you know about the Chernobyl accident?
Haha, I actually don't.
The Chernobyl nuclear disaster happened in 1986. Even though it was 40 years ago, we still can't go there because it's dangerous.
Wait, why did it explode?
The Chernobyl nuclear power plant's facilities were worn out, and the supervision was too weak. The operator took off the control rod that controls the overload to increase reactor power. But suddenly, the reactor power increased and then it exploded. The explosion not only caused major damage that day, but also the radiation spread to people and caused significant harm to their health.
Gangan, do you know how radiation affects humans?
I mean, it can't be good, right?
The radiation causes gene variation, and it leads to birth defect. Also, animals could be born with sick or missing limbs. There was a guy named Sashi Kelly who was exposed to 120 sieverts of radiation, which is the amount an average person would receive over 12 million years. After 36 hours, he died of heart failure. His body is buried in a lead and concrete coffin because his body is continuously releasing radiation. Now, what do you think? Is it dangerous?
I do not deny it's dangerous.
But you agreed to develop the nuclear power plant? Don't you know how big the damage is?
I know. Instead, in the future, we can effectively use nuclear energy through the module of a smaller atomic power plant, SMR. It doesn't use fuel a lot, so it makes little nuclear energy, but SMR makes less nuclear waste and is safer than present nuclear power plant.
Additionally, SMRs are designed to be cooled solely by natural convection, meaning they don't require much human intervention once activated and can independently generate power. This greatly reduces the risk of human casualties. Because of this, SMRs can even be installed offshore for lower maintenance cost, or they can be built in urban areas to supply electricity more efficiently.
Wow, interesting. I hope it commercializes soon.
Me too. But expenses play a big role in why it hasn't been commercialized yet.
You know, the main reason why we can't fully use nuclear power efficiently is because it's directly related to nuclear weapons.
Nuclear weapons are the most powerful weapons humans have ever created. The most powerful nuclear bomb ever made is called the Tsar Bomba. It was a fusion bomb. If it exploded in Seoul, what do you think would happen?
Not just in Seoul, people all over near cities, including Gyeonggi province, would be affected too. Within a 100-kilometer radius, windows would crash from the blast. When the scientists tested the bomb, they said the shock wave from its test blast circled the Earth twice.
That's insane! That means a fifth of our country's population would die in a flash.
That's how dangerous nuclear weapons are. Just having them is a huge responsibility.
But there are already so many nuclear bombs around the world. If we actually use them against each other, we'd all die. No matter what, people would suffer in the end.
Which is why there is an international push to stop making them, I guess.
But in the field of energy production, we are not limited to just nuclear fission. In the future, we will also be able to use nuclear fusion. Fusion has more benefits than fission. The fuel of fusion is abundant, and it doesn't produce greenhouse gases or radioactive waste. So, it's much more eco-friendly.
Plus, there are almost no risk of explosion or industrial accident.
So, how does fusion actually work?
Fusion produces energy by combining two elements. Also, in this process, some mass is lost as energy, just like with fission.
Exactly. Fusion can produce as much energy from 1 gram of hydrogen as from dozens of tons of coal. It creates even more energy than fission. In 2020, our country set a world record by sustaining ultra-high temperature plasma for 30 seconds.
So, we talked about nuclear energy a lot. Are you guys still the same as before?
I don't know about nuclear's bad effect clearly, but now I'm a little bit scared of nuclear energy. However, I still think it is necessary to develop nuclear technology.
But hearing all these positive aspects and how versatile it could be, it kind of makes me feel like developing nuclear energy might be necessary after all. Still, I can fully shake off the feeling that it's risky.
Right. Every technology has both a beneficial and negative side, like nuclear technology. It actually gives us many advantages, but at the same time, it has the possibility of killing people. Thus, we should consider the way that is desirable. So, that's all of today's podcast. This has been DJUNO with
Hanbit?
Younghwa.
And Kanghan.
Bye!